Hello and welcome to Frankly Speaking, where we dive deep into regional headlines with leading policymakers and business leaders. I am Katie Jensen. On this episode, we speak to Muin Serhan, the CEO of Amsa Hospitality in Saudi Arabia. The kingdom set its sights on 100 million visitors by 2030 and hit that target 7 years ahead of schedule. Many have called it a remarkable achievement, but one that's now testing the limits of the country's hospitality sector, with hotel shortages, soaring prices and a race to keep up with demand. So how can Saudi sustain that momentum without losing control of quality or cost? Who's stepping up to deliver the infrastructure behind the vision? And how would the infrastructure handle the pressure of a global spotlight? Mr. Serhan, thank you for joining us on Frankly Speaking. Now, you've spent more than 2 decades in hospitality. Some argue that the transformation that we've seen in Saudi Arabia over the past decade really has been unprecedented. You've been at the heart of a lot of that. Frankly speaking, what are the biggest changes or the factors that were implemented by Saudi Arabia that managed to help it meet its target of 100 million visitors just a couple of years ago, and certainly way before the original target of 2030?
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invite. As a matter of fact, I spent half of my age in Saudi Arabia, more than 25 years. So I've seen the transformation of tourism in particular and the ecosystems in Saudi Arabia. So I can tell you the massive changes happening in the new Saudi Arabia, as we always call it. Now, the targeting, as actually the recent studies came out into 2024, that we achieve 116 million visitors inbound and outbound. And the target for 2030 is to reach 150 million tourists. And we are on that gap, or we are on that journey. And I think it's achievable. If not, we're going to cross this 150 million with all the strategic activities on the region.
And of course, there's been huge growth. I think visitor figures up by close to 10% last year. The government's now targeting 150 million visitors by 2030. So certainly big plans ahead. Of course, on the flip side, there has been a lot of talk about a shortage of hotel rooms, particularly as somewhere like Riyadh is preparing for major global events. Talk to me, as someone who is able to see what's going on behind the scenes. What are the latest figures that you've seen? And what do you tell tourists who are complaining of rising room prices during the busy high seasons?
Absolutely. As a normal city, Saudi Arabia is being recorded one of the highest growth between the G20 group into number of visitors and number of supply, I would say, in a hotel keys in the region, as well as the G20. Now, this goes hand in hand with the coming projects and the coming activities. What's happening in Saudi Arabia, from the Expo to, of course, to the 2034 football matches or the sport matches. This indicating that we as a hoteliers, and developers and investors, we have to add more hotels to the area. In particular, where you have the activities happening, for example, Riyadh, the Expo. In that scenario, Amsa Hospitality, we're managing one of the largest Radisson hotels in Saudi Arabia. That's near to the Expo. Besides, of course, another 4 developments we will add to the portfolio, and we will be countering for 1,500 keys in the area moving forward. As for the market in particular, yes, there is a huge demand, and this is a demand and supply story. And this is a normal in any other destinations. If you look to New York, to London, and as well as to Dubai, we all more or less were competing. Now, having said that, there is also a demand for the 5-star luxury hotels, as well as the mid-tier and the mid-scale tier, which we are a major player on that segment. On here, yes, there is a gap that needs to be filled. And this will make the gap on supply and demand being almost surplus or even exceeding the demand what we have in the region.
And we certainly are seeing a lot of global interest towards Saudi Arabia at the moment. Of course, you mentioned the Expo's coming up. And what I think is interesting is that a lot of our visitors likely to visit Expo are also going to be potentially looking at places like Neom, Red Sea as well. So tell me, in terms of your work, how is Amsa Hospitality positioning itself to try and bridge that gap that you've talked about there? I know you are really looking to ramp up the number of hotel keys. So how many rooms do you have in the market today? How many are you committing to inject in the market in the coming years? And tell me, are you mainly focusing on Riyadh or really across the wider kingdom?
Actually, Amsa Hospitality vision that we will have crossing the 10,000 keys in the coming period.
Wow.
As we speak, we have 770 keys. By next year, we will double this number to reaching 1,500. The pipeline, what we have into projects, it will land into the 10,000 keys. Our aim is to be an IPO by 2027. And in order to mandate this IPO means that you have to have a future pipeline into your development growth. What we did as Amsa Hospitality, we followed a very strategic, holistic approach to the kingdom, looking into 17 destinations where we studied the supply and demand, and we built a gap analysis in that between. So this gave us exactly how many hotels we will develop in each area. For example, we've seen a huge potential in Abha, where we have another hotel. We have a hotel already opened last year. And a future hotel will be open in Hail, another futuristic destination with a huge potential for sport activities. And everybody knows Rally Hail, which is a very same as Rally Dakar, same as a destination which is attracting lots of tourists, as well as place itself as one of the hub destinations in the region. Moving to another secondary market, which is Al Qasim area, where we're opening another hotel over there with a very strategic partner. This showing a growth of demand as well as supply in that area. And from us, we're seeing the mid-tier is less fortunate, and here where we are basically filling that gap when it comes to our future development.
So obviously a big focus on mid-tier for you at the moment, but we know as Riyadh is gearing up for Expo 2030, we're expected to see a massive influx of visitors. And these visitors today are looking for something new. Some of them want luxury 5-star hotels. Others are looking for something a little bit more affordable on the budget side of accommodation.
Absolutely.
Now, of course, you've done a lot of work with Accor. Tell me, what do you think is the right balance, and what are the offerings that you're looking to provide to cater for a variety of tastes?
You know, the kingdom is fortunate with so many, I would say UNESCO registered assets, same as the Raya, for example, and we're all feel proud that we are part of this success journey. The Raya will be featuring more than 39 hotels. We will have one of them, and moving forward in the Raya 2 stage. That's on a future development on a 4-star tier. You know, everybody knows that Raya will have a very unique luxury hotels. Going into another project which is a very important for us is Qiddiya, which is also another important giga project happening, and it have featured a lots of entertainment sites. So that needs to be complemented by hotels, need to be sustaining this area. Now, answering the question of the luxury and the 4-star tier, of course, you have in any destination you have to give different tiers that can, you know, sustain the requirement of the client. Knowing that not all the clients are 5-star or ultra luxury, you still need to cater for the 4-star and 3-star, and even the hotel apartment guest who would like to have a more space and enjoy the space and requirements. So in here, Amsa Hospitality, we are pioneering this journey, and we're moving toward the spectrum. And we're seeing this working very well for us in Riyadh and different regions.
What specific sectors are you looking at, though, when we talk about the big luxury 5-star down to the more affordable 2 or 3-star you mentioned as well? What areas are you planning to target? Is that going to be something different from what we've seen previously?
You know, we're fortunate that we are working with a very active ownership. So our owners, we give them the vision that, Amsa Hospitality is all built about sustainability with the way how we do, and sustainability not only with the growth, and sustainability when it means to our intake when it comes to the assets itself, the way how we build our hotels. So from the design concept, we develop our hotel to be unique, to have a local acceptance and a local inherent as well. So we copy what in the market, in that Qasim, for example, and Hayel, and we have this narrative into our design, and that will become our design storytelling when we build our hotel.
Okay, so sustainability is still important, but I guess
Absolutely.
I mean more, are you looking at targeting the big 5 stars? Are you looking at maybe 2 or 3 stars? Is that going to shift from what you've done? What I'm asking, I guess, is are you looking to move into a different direction than what we've seen previously?
We are moving toward the 4-star tier,
Okay.
or the mid-scale, we call it. That's really the comfort zone for so many reasons.
Okay. Well, let me ask, I guess, a wider picture. We know that the government of Saudi Arabia really has prioritized tourism under Vision 2030. We're seeing huge investments in big sporting events, whether it's the F1, whether it's golf, tennis, lots going on when it comes to religious tourism as well. And of course, incredible projects, whether it's Red Sea or NEOM, certainly bringing a lot of interest to the market. Tell me, in terms of your work, what are the industries or activities as your group investing in, apart from hotel rooms, to really align itself with Saudi Arabia's new reality?
The approach what we're having as a hospitality company, as Amsa Hospitality, we also have an academy which can support, the development of hotels, what we have, and this is to support even the local talent in that spectrum. So besides the hospitality and developing more hotels that can fill that gap, that's our focus on the coming period. Going into that 4-star tiers, and deploying ourselves in that key areas, NEOM, the Red Sea probably. We know that they are having ultra luxury hotels, which is, I would say a bespoke destination, but still there is a huge demand for a 4-star tier that can be complement that journey for the guests moving forward.
Okay, let me talk to you about nationalisation. We know that being able to train and empower Saudi nationals in the hospitality industry is a major priority for the government today. Tell me about your work in terms of AMSA's Saudiization efforts and your approach to be able to develop local talent effectively.
Part of our sustainability and our core values, we did make sure that as long we're developing more hotels in certain destinations or in our 17 destinations, what we did is actually we formed Amsa Academy, which is a complete accreditation academy working with the vocational training in Saudi Arabia authorities, as well as the international certification from Paris, in order to make sure that we have an international curriculum that we provide for our student, and that will be flavored with the Saudi culture, practices. The academy role is to train the colleague or the future talent, what we are deploying in a different market, either from Qasim, Hayel, or Abha, or Al-Ahsa, or wherever destination we're moving in. And this talent, this is part of our vision to make sure that this talent will be deployed in our hotel. So we're not only opening hotels, we're opening hotels, training local staff in order to operate these hotels.
And I think that's a key point. I think having the on-the-ground, very practical, hands-on experience has to be a massive priority. Tell me, when we look at the younger generation, the new Saudi graduates coming out of university or colleges, are you seeing greater interest from them in hospitality careers today in the past? Again, traditionally, we often see a big focus on government positions, but as we're seeing the new generation come forward, and Saudi really is having a massive spotlight on its tourism sector today, is there more interest? And what work are you doing? Do you collaborate with schools or universities or specialized academies to attract and train future talent?
Well, you said it right. Actually, Amsa Academy, we cooperated with more than 7 universities. And these 7 universities, they all have tourism sector, or I would say faculty department, where we go and we work very closely with the university, because we all been in universities, that we understand that we while we're studying, we are seeing a lots of a cloud out of what the future will look like. So what we did as AMSA, we went to the universities and we give some insights, and we give trainings for them while they are studying, how the future will look like for them when they move to the real workforce in the market, and take that fear from them. Because any student, the most fear for them is that, would I find a job when I leave, or when I finish, or not? And is this job is sustainable for me, more and rewarding? And that's exactly our role, to make sure that we clear all this doubt for the future student, and making sure that they are being inducted while they are studying. And that's the programs what we're having inside our hotels.
And I think that's a really important point. I think giving them on the ground, the hands-on experience, I think is going to be key, looking at their future success. Tell me a little bit more about that. How long do you tend to work with them for, when you say you give them the opportunity to work in the industry while still studying? Are we talking about 6 months, 12 months program? Tell me a little bit more about that collaboration.
Well, we have actually two different programs, one for the intermediate and one for the advanced ones. So, we work into a system that we do an assessment prior to joining the academy, and here we can see the gap, and where is the gap can be filled inside for that talent. And we're seeing a program that can be completed in 9 months, which end up by been joining Amsa Hospitality. So this is a guaranteed job workforce, and that will basically give more comfort to the student that, listen, I'm gonna finish my study and I know that my job is guaranteed, especially with the training programs, what we are embedded to his current educational system, what he has or she has at the university. So
I think
this
that's key.
will narrow.
Actually giving them the job skills that they can take once they finish university to actually enter the marketplace. I think it's a massive benefit. Now, of course, Amsa Hospitality, I think one of the most interesting things about the work that you do is you have that very much that traditional Arabian culture focus. When there are so many other hoteliers and organizations in the market, what do you do to stand out? How do you make sure that you provide that authentic local value and tradition, but also create international standards that overseas and local guests expect?
The good thing is that, all of us as a hotelier, when we have the vision that we need to have Saudi Arabia hospitality tourism being standout out of all other regions, that's a complete cooperation we have headed by the Minister of Tourism. And this cooperation ended by having us delivering the core value of Amsa Hospitality as Arabian hospitality to be unique. One of the important aspects what we did out of Amsa culture, that once again when we train genuinely for that talent inside the areas what they are in. For example, yes, we give the international flavor because we are an international company, or an international brand, but with a local emphasis. For example, when we do for a welcoming in Hayel, we give that flavor of Hayel welcoming phrases. That's one thing, which is a very famous in the region. Not only with the welcoming, even with the way how it's being served, even with the way how we are having our uniform standing out of this crowd. So yes, we are an international company operating an international brands, but with the local Arabic Saudi hospitality services.
Yeah, and I think that local Saudi hospitality is something that really is key to that. Now, of course, all over the world, Saudi Arabia really has always been known for its focus on religious tourism as home to Hajj and Umrah. Tell me, what do you think of the opportunities in terms of expanding hospitality around the holy cities? What work are you doing there at the moment, if any?
Yeah, well, actually, there is a huge development in either Mecca or Medina or the holy places. Mecca, there is a famous project, Masar, I had the opportunity along with my leadership to walk through this project. It's something out of this world, from the infrastructure to the future development to the number of assets we'll be having there. This is one project that will be standing out from the crowd. Besides, of course, another project, Dakhir, it's another outstanding project that will also come with a new supply to the market. And of course, a new supplies means demand will come in to fill this supply. And going into Medina also another story to tell with the future development from Ro'a Medina, besides the development around this area. And all this is governed and supported by the new initiative which has been launched by the government recently.
Now, of course, I think when it comes to Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Jeddah, very well known in terms of kind of, tourism there today, Mecca as well, again, for religious tourism. But what I think is really interesting is we're also seeing incredible locations like Alula bring these stunning historical projects to life.
Absolutely.
So in your opinion, are there secondary cities or regions in the kingdom that you really see emerging as hospitality hubs today? What areas are those, and what kind of strategy are you looking at to target this?
I fully agree with you. These areas, mentioning Al Ula, for example, is one of the stunning locations. I've been fortunate really to visit Al Ula, same as other destinations. Al Ula have its own flavors and what's been offered there, and the unique experience when it comes to the customer journey and the way how guest is being treated, as well as the assets itself or the hotels in that area, is out of this world. Which is, we understand it's a bit remote from the major cities, as you said, Riyadh or Jeddah, but that areas have its own visitors, people who basically want to be in Al Ula and just only in Al Ula. So that's exactly the goal. Our vision is basically, and we are working with the Royal Commission of Al Ula as well, in order to see the opportunity of developing a 4-star assets over there. And we are in a very advanced studies and communication with them, operating around 120 keys hotel in Al Ula city.
When can we expect an official announcement? You said talks there are progressing. When do you think we might see some real clarity on that project?
In the coming FHS, actually, we're going to announce signing one hotel. It's one of the flagships will be for us, with a unique brand as well. Okay. And the brand came hand in hand with the destination as itself. And then after 3 months, we're going to announce another hotel. So I think our portfolio by quarter will be increasing by one asset.
Okay, watch this space. Tell me, in terms of other areas that are really interesting to you in Saudi Arabia right now, we mentioned Al Ula. Where do you see the other cities or real hotspots when it comes to tourism today?
When we studied the kingdom as a complete destination, we find Al Ihsa is as another great destination that we can deploy, and we are in the process of doing that. Of course, Abha, and I mentioned, I think we have one hotel operating, but I think it maybe the appetite for more than one, it's there. Going into Tabuk, Neom, as you mentioned, of course, Qiddiya. You go to other destinations from Al-Wajh, as well as Khubar, Dammam. There's a huge development, coastal development on that area. And more and above, there is this secondary areas when it comes to Al-Jawf, for example, Al-Baha, the retreat hotels, which will be our focus on the coming period. Al-Jawf is famous with so many, it's a different place in the whole than the other cities of Saudi Arabia. That needs another unique hotel from Amsa to be deployed in this area. So there is a huge development on these areas, the 17 of them, which we pinpointed, and the progress will be, as we speak, every quarter we have something new coming up.
Well, lots going on, particularly I think you were saying around 750 hotels, increasing that to, hotel keys, increasing that to 3,000 within 2027. Clearly, there's some big announcements still coming up. Let me change directions a little bit. Let me talk about another important topic, particularly when it comes to hoteliers and tourism in our part of the world, and that is sustainability. Lot of interest these days in eco-friendly design, in LEED certification, in waste reduction as well, and also ethical tourism as well, particularly when we're looking at projects like Red Sea and Jeddah. Tell me about some of the work that you're doing at the moment, and how do you make sure that we're actually, making a commitment that really works in real life rather than just ticking a box or greenwashing?
Excellent. Thank you very much. It's all start from the design concept. So we start from here. The journey starts from the design that we built our focus on the design of that hotels that to be sustainable by all means. And then when I said sustainable from the way how we are looking after the environment to the way how we are looking after the place where we are deploying our hotels. This is one. And this goes into our BEQ when it goes to the engineering and development of the hotel. And that's the mandate what we give to our main contractors to apply these sustainable projects toward a real factory. And we keep supervising this on a mandate. Last week, for example, we were supervising one project in Al Hayel and to see how far it is from or how close it is from the sustainable vision, what we are looking for. And it goes hand in hand with the way how we are really pinpointing. Existing projects like Radisson and Riyadh Airport, we did make sure, because that hotel has been built like 4 years before. Since the inception and since the design been taking over, we built it on a sustainable mission and vision to the way now we are working into more details on this from the segregation processes of the waste management, food control, the way how we are recycling our water and the grey water systems, swimming pool treatments, and the way how we are even utilizing the solar panels with our journey of sustainability. There's so many.
What kind of reduction have you seen? If we're talking percentage, what kind of reduction have you seen in carbon footprint since implementing a lot of these initiatives?
You know, it's varied from according to the size of the project, but it's ranging between 20 to 25%.
Okay.
And that's to be honest with you, from an investment part, from an ownership part, it's a huge investment. You know, and the good thing that we are fortunate with our ownership as well as our future owners and developers with whom we're working with, they are going hand in hand with this vision. So they are not rejecting to pay a little bit more for something can be rewarding on the future.
I mean, again, if we're talking about, 20, 25% reduction, clearly that work really does make an impact, both financially as well as environmentally as well. Tell me about digital transformation, big buzzword, of course, when it comes to tourism these days. But I'd love to know some tangible examples of the work that you're doing, whether it's creating smart rooms or AI-driven guest experiences. How are you helping to modernize hospitality? What are customers really looking for today?
Yeah, customers is looking for more advanced rooms. From the first initial customer doing reservation to the checkout process and post departure. Here, that's need to be digitalized, and the AI plays a big factor in this system. From the AI concierge system, which we are deploying, from the mobile check-in, from a smart TV, smart menus, and even the smart room integration, lighting system, AC systems that can be also integrated with the way how the guest or the customers like in his preference, and going in hand with the reward system, what being also infused toward this journey. And following up the departure of the guest, with a questionnaire, how this journey can be enhanced for a future development. All this will be recorded in the profile of the guest for a future destination, which we are expecting the guest to move on. So the future destination will read what the preferences of the guest are in, and they will start applying exactly these preferences prior to the arrival.
It's giving people, isn't it, that personalized, that seamless experience, and really, I think, creating more
Absolutely.
meaningful experiences in travel today. Well, we have seen a big tourism boom in Saudi, but let's be honest, every industry has its challenges. Where are the gaps in the market? Where are the biggest hurdles facing hospitality? We mentioned earlier rising hotel costs, rising room costs at certain times of the year. But what are the other challenges, whether it's regulation, financing, workforce readiness, competition? What are the things that keep you up at night at the moment?
Well, I would say, with a huge demand in building our hotels, there is a huge opportunity to grow the talent. So reducing the gap in the market, that is something we feel is waking us a lot. But what we did with the support of AMSA Academy, we are more in the ground. We're training more people in order to convert this training to a full-time employees. And that's exactly to helping us a lot, narrowing the gap. This is one factor. The other factor is basically, and I would say also there is a solution for that. It was challenges when it comes to the fund as well as the initiative that's been laid down by the government and Minister of Tourism to support the new development in certain areas, which is recently been launched. Minister of Tourism now, they developed a program, FTI. This is a full program helping a future development with a complete system. So from a design, very subsidized land cost, to a ready design with a complete rendering and complete funding and incentives into the process when it comes to operational after the hotel opening. This you wouldn't see anywhere else. So yes, we have a challenge, but this challenge is being taken over now by the initiative of the Minister of Tourism.
Okay, really.
Other challenges, of course, which is outside us, which is the region outside Saudi Arabia. More or less, it's affecting us, but this is something where we cannot control. We'll control the things what we have in hand.
Okay, well, if we put the spotlight on Saudi Arabia, tell me, if we look ahead to 2030 and beyond, where do you see Amsa Hospitality evolving? You mentioned you're planning to grow from around 750 hotel keys to several thousand by 2027. What's going to be your big focus, big priority? And I think also when we look at the bigger picture, what's your personal vision for Saudi as a hospitality industry in the global context?
I'll start by Amsa Hospitality. Amsa Hospitality, we're growing by the year. We're doubling our numbers. This doubling comes with complete support and understanding and collaboration with the local investors as well as development in Saudi Arabia, and governed by the Minister of Tourism and the initiative what we had. And seeing this makes our success journey delivering what we are calling for. Moving forward. Yes, we're targeting 10,000 keys, and I see this happening in the coming 7 to 8 years, moving with the same multiples what we're doing. As for Saudi Arabia, where I can see now, Saudi Arabia, as I told you, I've been in Saudi since 25 years, so I'm seeing a huge lift when it comes to tourism positioning and the ranking between the G20, and we are ranking as one of the top when it comes to where are we standing with our future development and the focus on tourism. So this will start climbing to exceed all the expectation when it comes to any other major cities from London or France or New York, and capturing this gap and narrowing this gap with developments happening in Saudi in different areas.
A really interesting thought. It's definitely some big opportunities in the market, and I think so much of Saudi Arabia still to be showcased to the
Absolutely.
world. But Mr. Serhan, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your insights.
Thank you very much.
I think you're going to be very busy in the coming years expanding the company. So we wish you the best of luck with that as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invite. Thank you.